Frank Clark is being shopped around by the Seattle Seahawks. Could the Eagles actually be interested in him? Could they? It'd be unbelievable. Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! Cause Dallas still stinks!
Still the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly. Scary Cooper, asshole!
Oh, Diva! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans.
Dallas still stinks! Yo, everybody, how you doing? King Ding back here, and I hope everybody's having a great Friday, a good Friday. It's a holiday weekend for many of us. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy your family, enjoy the whole thing, and just have a great weekend, and I hope everybody is doing well. Now, in this video, I want to talk about two separate things. The first part of this video, I want to talk about Frank Clark and the possibility that he's going to be traded, and if the Eagles are going to be a player in this. The second part is I want to take a look at the Dallas Cowboys schedule and give my prediction on what I think they're going to do. So an Eagle fan is going to try to predict the stinking Dallas Cowboys record. Now, I wish I could have found my Carson Wentz versus Dak Prescott intro. The first 2 years, you remember that? Can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. It would have been perfect for this video because it would have pissed off a bunch of Cowboy fans. I love to get them annoyed. They love to get me annoyed. It's a back and forth. It's a rivalry thing. That's what we're supposed to do. It's never personal, but that's what we're supposed to do. But I couldn't find it, so what are you going to do? But I do want to predict their record for the year, so we're going to definitely do that. But before we get into the stinking Dallas Cowboys, I want to talk about Frank Clark. Now, Frank Clark has been franchise tagged by the Seattle Seahawks. Now, he's going to make, I believe, $17.5 million on that franchise tag. But Seattle, they just spent a lot of money on Russell Wilson, and I think that there's doubt that he is going to be able to be signed long term. So Seattle can let him play for 1 year and then go, or they can look to trade him. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about him being traded and stuff like that, but now we're starting to see more reports, more concrete reports. Ian Rappaport was on the NFL Network talking about this. The Seattle Seahawks are interested and may trade him. This is a possibility. This is a very, very likely possibility that they're going to at least be shopping him. And there has been multiple teams interested. I think the Jets have come out and they aggressively have tried to trade for him. And I think when you look at what the Eagles, their off-season goals were, was one of them was to get a premier pass rusher. They wanted another pass rusher. They may do it in the draft with a young rookie, but they also may trade for a premier one. We've talked about Jadeveon Clowney, who I think is absolutely fantastic. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Frank Clark. Now, Frank Clark's situation may be a more viable trade option than the Jadeveon Clowney for a few reasons. One, I think that there's a thought that they're not going to be able to keep him long term. And two, he's going to cost teams less than a Jadeveon Clowney would. Now, for those that don't know Frank Clark, he's a very good defensive end. He was a second-round pick by the Seattle Seahawks in 2015. And pretty much since his second year in the league, he's been basically producing. His second year in the league, I think it was 2016, he had 10 sacks. The following year, 2017, he had 9 sacks, and then he had a whopping 13 sacks this year. But he's very explosive off the ball. He gets off the ball, and some of the tape I watched, he must know what the snap count is because he's going at the perfect time. And I think he's pretty explosive. I think he plays the run pretty good, and I think he would be a perfect fit to put on the opposite side of Derek Barnett. He's he's 6'3", 265 pounds. He's 25 years old. Now, he had 41 tackles last year, 13 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception. So this guy has produced more than 1 year. He's had 13 sacks, he's had 9 sacks, he's had 10 sacks, And he's only going to get better. He's only 25 years old. And if the Eagles have an opportunity to trade a guy like this, to trade for a guy like this, I think you got to do it. Now, there are issues, right? He's a franchise tag player. So you have to pay him $17.5 million, or you have to sign him to a long-term contract. That's going to be a lot of money in itself. We also signed Brandon Graham to about $13 million a year this following year. This offseason. What are we going to do with him? Are we going to just keep all those guys? It's a very interesting question. Now, as far as this year goes, Brandon Graham, most of his money was upfront money, so I think he's only like $3 million or something against the cap because he got the signing bonus. But next year, his cap number is like over $13 million. And there are a few things to consider here. What would it cost to get a Frank Clark, and would it be worth it? I think it would take a first round pick. I think the 25th pick in the draft for him straight up. I think it gets done. I think that you could get that done today if you would call up Seattle Seahawks and offer that. I really do. There's other options. Is there a scenario, and I'm just throwing this out there, and I know a lot of people love Brandon Graham, but maybe you could trade Brandon Graham and a second-round pick or a fourth-round pick or something to Seattle in exchange for him, right? And basically get rid of that $13 million cap and then, pay Frank Clark. But I tell you this, I know the Eagles value these pass rushers, and I know they're looking for another one long-term. They're looking for one, and they may take him in the draft. They may not. And if they bring in a Frank Clark for 1 year with Brandon Graham, I think they could survive in, the cap and what Brandon Graham's going to make. Because like I said, his cap number really jumps up the next year. A lot of his money this year was in that signing bonus. So Frank Clark to the Eagles, I think the Eagles are one of the interested teams in him just by knowing what they've been looking for in the offseason, a premier pass rusher. I think he's one of them. And if the Eagles trade a first-round pick for him, this would give them an instant upgrade, an instant starter over Brandon Graham on that defensive end. Then can Derek Barnett have a breakout season? I think he would have a pretty good chance with all the talent around him. So I'm all in on trading for Frank Clark with our first round pick. If we could do it for less, fine. But for that first round pick, I would give it up in a second for Frank Clark. Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! It's time for the Dallas Cowboys schedule. I want to take a look at the Dallas Cowboys schedule. I've heard all these Dallas Cowboy fans talking about how great they're going to do, and the schedule's perfect, and they're going to be the best team, and all this kind of stuff. Now, we do know. We know already. Eagle fans, Dallas fans know it's a two-team race in the NFC East. Only some delusional Giant fans think they're going 10-6, 9-7. They're crazy. Those teams stink. Now I'm going to do a Giants schedule and a Redskins schedule prediction later on, but I'm going to start with the Eagles' biggest foe, the Eagles' biggest rivalry, the Eagles' biggest threat in the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys. So let's take a look at their stinking schedule, right? So, Sunday, September 8th, they open up at home against the Giants. Why do they always open up against the Giants? It's like every year. Not last year, but every year. So they play the Giants, and that's a win. So we're going to say Dallas is 1-0. Then they go to Washington. And now, I don't know. Like, part of me wants to troll you guys and just be like, lose, just to piss you guys off. But I'm going to try to be half serious this time. There are going to be other times I might not. This time I'm going to try to be at least somewhat serious in this. Okay, so Giants, they beat Giants week 1. They're 1-0. Then they go to Washington. Casey Stinkum stinks. They're 2-0. So we got Dallas at 2-0. Then they have the Miami Dolphins. That's 3 easy joke games right off the bat. So they got Miami. That's a win. We got Dallas at 3-0 very early. Now I have the Eagles 2-1 after 3 weeks. So Dallas would be in first place by 1 game at this point. So after they play Miami, they play at New Orleans. And this is a Sunday night game. Prime time in New Orleans. Dallas beats New Orleans in Dallas. They don't beat New Orleans in New Orleans. I got New Orleans winning this game. Dallas is now 3-1. Then, Dallas plays the Green Bay Packers the following week at home. And, Green Bay I don't think is as good as everybody always thinks, but for whatever reason, I always say this. Aaron Rodgers is the Dragon Slayer. He beats Dallas all the time. I don't care why. I don't know why, but he just beats them. I think the Green Bay Packers will go in to Dallas and they will win. So now I have Dallas at 3-2. Now, the following week, they travel to play the New York Jets in those horrible jerseys. I got Dallas winning that game. So Dallas, they are going to win that game, and that's going to take them to 4-2. Sunday, October 20th, Sunday Night Football. Dallas, Eagles, we're going to get it on. It's coming. It's coming. Carson Wentz, he's got something to prove. And I said this to all Dallas Cowboy fans in my Eagles prediction video, and I believe this with all my heart. The Eagles are sweeping Dallas this year. Eagles are going to go in, and they are going to beat Dallas. So I got Dallas falling to them. So what do I have Dallas now? I have Dallas at 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, 4-2. I have Dallas at 4-3. Now, Dallas is going to have a bye week, and they're going to come back and they're going to play the Giants on November 4th, a Monday night game. I got Dallas beating the Giants. Giants always stink. Bad dog is a mad dog, 'cause he knows the Giants always stink. And they do. So I got Dallas winning and going to 5-3. Now, after Dallas beats the Giants, they come home and they are going to play the Minnesota Vikings at home. Kirk Cousins, I'm not big Kirk Cousins guy. I don't know what to expect from the Vikings this year, but it's in Dallas, and I'm going to give Dallas, it's a Sunday night game. So Dallas gets to play a Monday night game, then they get to play a Sunday night game, right? And then the week that they played the Eagles was a Sunday night game. So Dallas is 3 games in a row, all on Sunday and Monday Night Football. What a joke, okay? Jeez. But I got them beating Minnesota. So that's 5-3, 6-3. Then they're going to play at Detroit. I'm going to say they're going to win that game. I don't think much of Detroit. That takes them to 7-3. Then Dallas is going to go and play New England in New England. So that's Sunday, November 24th. I got Dallas losing this game. So Dallas loses that game, and that takes them to what? 7-4. Then they're going to play home against Buffalo. I got them beating Buffalo. That takes them to 8-4. And then Thursday, December 5th, against the Chicago Bears, the stinking Bears, Trubisky. I'm all out of whiskey, 'cause I lost my Trubisky. I know Philly was right to say that the Bears still stink. But the Bears ain't going to stink on this night. The Bears are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys in Chicago. And I got the Bears winning that game. Then the Cowboys come home and they face the Los Angeles Rams, a revenge game from the playoffs. I got the Dallas Cowboys winning that game. We're going to give them that. I'm going to give them the game. I'm trying to be honest here, but I'll give it to them. So, Dallas now has 2 games left, and they're going to play Sunday, December 22nd at Philly. They're going to play at Philly, and I have the Eagles beating the Dallas Cowboys, giving them their 6th loss in the division, in the league, in the record, right? They're going to have 6 losses. This will clinch the division, home field throughout the playoffs, everything for the Eagles. And I got Dallas losing to the Eagles. Like I said, I believe Dallas will be swept by the Eagles. And I know Dallas Cowboy fans are going to get mad at me for it. It's too bad, it's what I think. Then Dallas closes against the Washington Redskins. This will take Dallas to a 10-6 record, and that's about what I think Dallas is going to finish. Dallas will finish 10-6 on the season. I think they'll be in the playoffs. They will be a wild card team, and it's going to be interesting. Dallas is definitely the Eagles' biggest threat because, this is early on. This is early. We haven't had the draft. You can't put a lot of stock into these predictions early. These are just for fun. But I think Dallas is about a 10 to 11 win team. I think the Eagles are about 11 to a 13 win team. And I think it's those two teams that are going to be fighting. Is this probably going to play out this way? Probably not. It's just for fun. But I think Dallas, 10-6, that's where I have them. And we'll see what happens. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you think about Frank Clark. Tell me what you think about the Dallas Cowboys record. And hey, with that said, take care. Talk to you later. Don't be a dingbat.